Dear viewers, today we'll be learning about the pancreas. Pancreas is an organ which lives retroperitoneally, and its main part, it corresponds to the transpyloric plane. And if you look at it, we have removed this pancreas from the model, and there you can see on the right side you can see the duodenum. This is the first part of the duodenum, and there you can see the second part of the duodenum, and then you can see the third and the fourth part of the duodenum. There you can see this duodenum is becoming after that the jejunum. And this C, which is made by my duodenum, this is the place where we can see the head of the pancreas. It lives in this area. After this head, the part which is here, that is called the neck of the pancreas, and this whole length, that is my body of the pancreas, and this is the place where it is going on the left side towards the hilum of the spleen, that is the tail of the pancreas. And now if you can pay attention, there is a carving being done, and a whitish structure has been highlighted with numerous ducts open into that. This is nothing but a pancreatic duct, and there you can see another accessory pancreatic duct is also being shown in this image. And then if you can see across this upper border and slightly posteriorly, you can see this splenic artery, which is one of the major branch emerging from my celiac trunk. And this pancreas, it has an exocrine and endocrine part, and there you can see in this image very clearly a very prominent structure, a very important landmark, and that is nothing but the portal vein. And if you pay attention, you can see this green structure, and that is my common bile duct. Now let's rotate this model to see the structures which are located behind this model on the posterior surface. So let's move him. And now while on rotation, now you can see very clearly the head part of the pancreas, the neck where my portal vein is being making, and can you see this point? This projected part, that is the uncinate process of my pancreas, and there we can see the body of the pancreas, and there is the tail of the pancreas, and there we can see the splenic artery, which is very clearly visible to us, and this vein that is going transversely, that is my splenic vein.
The pancreas is a composite gland. It consists of both exocrine and endocrine cells. In shape, it resembles the upper end of a thick walking stick. The gland is of firm consistency, and its surface is finely lobulated. Its big head is connected by a short neck to the body, which crosses the hilum and tapers to a narrow tail on the left side. If you look at its location, it is located in the retroperitoneum across the transpyloric plane. And now let's look at this gland. As we have said already, it resembles the hook of a stick. So this big blue part, we call it the head, and then this blue part, this big head, is connected to this green zone, and this connecting part is the neck, and then this is the body, and then the last part is the tail. So the head is being enclosed within the C of the duodenum, that is located on the right side, and then this tail is facing towards the hilum of the spleen, which is located on the left side. If you look further, this is the uncinate process. Now in a transverse section, if you look at this pancreas, it is in front of it on the right side, we can see the liver, the kidneys are behind both, spleen where the tail ends, and then stomach is also present in front of my pancreas. This is how it looks on a transverse section. Now, in a real cadaveric model, we can see, let's try to identify. Let's look at, this is my liver, this is the spleen, and this is where you can see this is my duodenum, and there is my pancreas. Look at it, its head, uncinate process, and then you can see this is where the neck is, and there is the body, and this is the tail, which is going towards the hilum of the spleen. And look at here, this is my superior mesenteric vein, and there you can see the splenic vein, and this is my superior mesenteric artery. And the superior mesenteric vein, when it continues up, it is joined by this splenic vein behind the neck of this pancreas, and then it transform into the portal vein, and there you can see the portal vein has been visible in this image. There you can see the common hepatic artery, and there you can see the location of my gastroduodenal artery, and this is my hepatic artery proper, and then you can see it branch off into right and left hepatic arteries, and they are going into the substance of the liver, because this porta hepatis part has been resected and the left lobe of the liver has been cut off. And even you can see the emergence of my common bile duct through two hepatic ducts, the right hepatic duct and the left hepatic duct, and this is, you can see the first part of the duodenum, second part of the duodenum, third, and there is the fourth part of my duodenum. Now we have highlighted this pancreas. Now you can distinguish it very clearly. After that, we talk about this superior mesenteric vein, and we talked about the splenic vein, and you can see after joining they are making this portal vein, which is entering into the through the hilum into the substance of the liver. And there we can see the arterial system, and we can see very clearly, which is visible to us, we can see the common hepatic artery and we can see the left gastric artery. And look at it, this is the abdominal part of my esophagus, and this is the opening in the diaphragm. Now, pancreas has been dissected, and you can see a very prominent structure is running horizontally. This is the pancreatic duct, and you can see its numerous connection through which it receives the secretions, and then it's going down towards the second part of the duodenum. And then you can also see here something which is coming from the porta hepatis downwards, and you can see the right hepatic duct and you can see the left hepatic duct. They are joining and they are giving us common hepatic duct. And then this common hepatic duct, gallbladder is not visible in this specimen, otherwise you can see. Now this is where we can call it common bile duct, and then it goes down. You can see it joining very nicely with this pancreatic duct, and they make ampulla of Werner that opens up in the second part of the duodenum. Now let's see, we have highlighted the right and left hepatic ducts, and they are joining common hepatic. That becomes my common bile duct or bile duct. And there we can see the pancreatic duct that has been highlighted, and then you can see at the ampulla of Werner, both of them, they are joining and they are opening at the major duodenal papilla in the second part of the duodenum. Now let's talk about the blood supply of the pancreas. It's very important. So what are we looking at? We are looking at the celiac trunk, and then the celiac trunk, it gives splenic artery which runs across the superior border and slightly posterior towards the hilum of the spleen. And then we can see on the right side, we can see the hepatic artery, common hepatic artery, which is going up, and then this common hepatic artery, it is ascending and it has given its branches, but right now they have not shown. So this part which is ascending up, we call it hepatic artery proper. And then you can see before becoming hepatic artery proper, from the common hepatic artery, we had the emergence of gastroduodenal artery. And then you can see this gastroduodenal artery, it runs behind the first part of the duodenum, and it gives a branch which is going in front of the head of the pancreas, and this branch is known as the pancreaticoduodenal artery. Which pancreaticoduodenal artery? It is my anterior superior pancreaticoduodenal artery. It supplies the duodenum, as well as the head of my pancreas. And then the same artery, it gives posterior superior pancreatico-duodenal. So they are supplying both the surfaces, anterior surface and posterior surface of duodenum and the head of my pancreas. And then we can see this is my superior mesenteric artery, which emerges at the L1 vertebral level, and from this superior mesenteric artery we have the inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery, and you can see one of its branch, which is my anterior inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery, and there we can see posterior inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery. So this inferior pancreatico-duodenal arteries, both anterior and posterior, they anastomose with the superior pancreatico-duodenal arteries. Right anterior goes to anterior and posterior goes to posterior pancreatico-duodenal artery, and this explains the head of the pancreas. It has double supply. These are the superior pancreatico-duodenal arteries are branches from the celiac trunk, which is an artery of my foregut. But these inferior pancreatico-duodenal arteries, they are the branches of my superior mesenteric artery, and superior mesenteric artery is an artery of my midgut, and that this head of my pancreas, it has dual blood supply. It gets its blood supply from the foregut artery, and it also gets the blood supply from the midgut artery. The remaining part of my pancreas, the body and the tail, they primarily get their blood supply through the splenic artery.
Now we are talking about this lobular structure which lives transversely in my body and roughly at a level of transpyloric plane, and it has a head. This head, if you can see, it is enclosed by the second part of the duodenum, which makes a C. And then after this head we have the neck of the pancreas. Then we can see the body part of the pancreas. The tail is not visible at the moment. Now just at the head we had at this level, this portion of my pancreas, we call it uncinate process.